46 and 48. So they skipped 47. Oh, yeah.
Is that noise back there?
Right.
44, 45, 46, and 48.
Okay, let's read this. What is that? Oh, Mark.
Yeah, start with verse 43.
Okay. All right, let's
Mark
start.
9, 40, you start with verse 43.
All right. All right. We'll just go ahead and read 43 through 48.
What the?
Are you okay?
She okay?
I think you're probably scared or more than anything. It's okay.
Start with verse 42.
Okay. All right.
Give everybody a chance to read this. So, somebody just go ahead and read verse 42, just real loud. Okay, just read that out to you.
All right.
And to whoever shall offend one of these little ones and believe in me, it is better for him that a millstone were hung around his neck and he were cast into the sea.
Just a minute.
And if thou offend thee, cut it off, and it is better for thee to enter into life main than having two hands to go into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched.
Verse 44.
Nice and loud, please.
Where their worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched.
Okay, so that's your next scripture. Go ahead, verse 45.
And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell, into the fire that never shall be quenched.
Remember that. Verse 46. Sister Jack.
Where their worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched.
47.
And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for thee to enter into the kingdom of God with one eye, than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire.
Okay. And, okay, so,
Verse 48.
oh, 48. Where their worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched. Okay, so you see here they say that 3 times. And the reason it is in all caps is because they're actually quoting from Isaiah 66, 24. Look at that real quick. You guys don't have to unless you want to. Okay, Isaiah 66, 24, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. Okay, and they shall go forth, I'm going to read it again, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be abhorring unto all flesh. Okay, all right, there's a couple thoughts when I printed these off, just reading through. Now the one, the man translated that the word worm is the original Greek word for grub or maggot. So, you know, that would refer to literal worms, okay? I believe there is literal worms in hell. I do believe that, okay? And they're like maggots and stuff, and they were constantly torturing people. You know, so you got the fire, and then you have these literal maggots, okay? And then there's,
Let me say something. That's not the Bible.
no, it says that's the Greek. If you look up the Greek word for worm there, you know.
Remember what I said. Remember what I said. If it's not in the Bible, don't bring it out. Okay? Because no place in the Bible will you find where it talks about maggots in hell. Okay? There's no such thing. So stick with the word. So we say amen. See, that's why we get off into cults, false teaching. The Catholic Church came out with a lot of false teaching that people picked up on, and then they got into New Age and so forth. Always remember, if it's not in the Bible, I don't even want it brought up. Somebody say amen. So, don't bring it up. Okay, because you'll get your turn later on, and everybody's going to get their turn later on. So, if you read something out of the courts or out of the Bible dictionary or something like that, and it's not in the Bible, we drop it.
Right. I didn't read that. All I read that was the original Greek word. I looked up the original. I mean, they looked up the original Greek word there for worm, and they found maggot and grub. Okay. So that's what. Okay, the Greek word. All right. So anyway, then the other Matthew Henry's concise commentary says. 9:41 through 50. It's repeatedly said of the wicked, their worm dieth not, as well as the fire is never quenched. Doubtless, remorse of conscience and keen self-reflection are this never-dying worm. Now, I don't know where they get that, but anyway, that's what he says, and that's how I was always taught as a child. Surely it is beyond compare better to undergo all possible pain, hardship, and self-denial here, and to be happy forever thereafter, like sacrifices. We must be salted with salt and corrupt affections and stuff. So they're saying that that's your conscience, okay?
Okay, you got your 5 minutes.
Okay. Well,
I'll tell you what, I took up some of her time, so give her a couple more minutes.
okay, it's just one more commentary I want to just read. And I'm not stating my opinion, I'm just reading all their commentaries and just giving you what I got,
But you
okay?
better remember Brother Michael was teaching the book of Revelation. Okay? He did a lot of deep study, and he brought all these other things in. Other theories, this and that. But we don't bring in other theories. We don't bring in any commentary or any other people's thoughts or writings. Because if you want to do something, you go to a Baptist teaching, you go to a Pentecostal teaching, you start to read on just the baptism of the Holy Ghost and salvation. These different stories. You stick with the Word. So anything that is not in the Bible is going to put a spirit of confusion in some way. Can I say that again? If you start getting around Jehovah's Witness and they start telling you there's such place in hell, and they start talking about Gehenna and Hades and all this kind of stuff, and lake of fire and stuff, they will get you so messed up. And then after a while you start, well, okay, I want to hear Ali's something for you. We nip it at the book. Someone says that. I told you a while ago, right before I come, a man was on television, they had him on the news. And he put you on Sunday morning. And he stands up just like a preacher, he's Christian. And Christians believe they're the only ones that are going to go to heaven. They're so naive and this and that and so on. And I want to watch him. I want to hear an idiot. But he's not going to change his mind. I don't just believe Christians are the only ones going to heaven. I know Christians are the only ones going to heaven. So we say that? So it doesn't matter. It's what God's Word says. Brother John?
His Word in here tells us, I forget, it's one of the Hebrews, James, 1 Peter, 2 Peter, I'm not sure. That tells us there's only one way going to heaven, that's through Jesus Christ, and only the doctrine that He has.
That's it. So it's not open for debate.
Yeah.
So let's say that. So the Mormons, you can go ahead and baptize. Go ahead, Sister Stephanie, go ahead and read what you got there.
Okay, all right, I'll just read it real quick. Where the worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched. Oh, this just says pulpit commentary, all right. These words are a quotation from Isaiah 66:24, and they are repeated 3 times in the Authorized Version, but the best ancient authorities admit them in the 2 first places, retaining them at verse 48. The metaphor is a very striking as well as awful. Ordinarily, the worm feeds upon the disorganized body and then dies. The fire consumes the fuel and then itself expires. But here the worm never dies, the fire never goes out. The words of Cornelius de Lapide on the original passage in Isaiah are well worth recording here. I beseech you, O reader, by the mercies of God, our God, by your salvation, by that one little life entrusted to you and committed to your care, that you will ever keep before your eyes the living memory as of eternity and of eternal torments, so also of the eternal joys on the other side offered to you by God, and concerning which you are here cast to die, and that irrevocable. Let these 2 things never depart from your mind in this world, vanity of vanities and all its vanity. Oh, what void there is in eternal things. Oh, how vain is all our life without Christ.
Amen. I think you had a question or statement?
No.
Okay. Now, when we start teaching here next Tuesday, I hope the Lord will give me to start teaching on the Spirit. The first question I'm going to be asking is, what is the Spirit? So we're going to dig deep into that. God is a Spirit, right? Jesus is the Spirit. Holy Ghost is the Spirit. You and I are
Spirit.
the true you and I are Spirit.
In the
Okay, now, when it talks about where the worm never dies, how many of you know the just and the unjust? We have an eternal man, being a so-called, in their case it's considered a worm, where it never dies. The Bible says, weeping and gnashing of teeth day and night forever and ever and ever. Okay? So when it talks about worm, that's our, this bothers me. This really bothers me. Because when I start to think about our eternal soul, our eternal work, our eternal spirit, that's going to live forever, whether it's heaven or hell, that is a sobering thought. And what Jesus is talking about here, when he brings up 3 times there, he talks about the meals for new service for anyone who's ill, a baby, or sometimes in the Lord or whatever. It's better for a millstone to be hung around than a neck. He was cast into hell. The hand of the odds, and he's talking about how serious this thing is, and he's talking about they're going to be cast into hell. Then he says where the worm never dies. So he's letting us know it's eternal punishment. Somebody say amen.
Yes.
So if we can go to heaven and receive our glorified body and be with the Lord forever, the people that goes to hell, likewise, is going to have their so-called eternal body, where their worm never dies. I don't want to have to spend eternity separated from God. And I'm going to say it again. I said it a couple times. I'm not going to nitpick on the word, because Jehovah's Witness, they really love the Gehenna. What does Gehenna mean? They want to go back to the Greek, and then Gehenna. Then lake of fire. And all these, nothing but confusion. Can I just always say it this way here? I'm going to make a hell. It's up to God how these other places are. It's not going to do me any good to say, well, this place, and then you come along with the doctor, our doctor. Catholic Church started this. This is just a little white lie. How do you know a sin is a sin?
The wages of sin is death.
And they believe you can say so many Hail Marys and so forth, you get somebody out of purgatory and this and that. It's not the Bible. Somebody say that. So, sin. There's no big sin, there's no little sin. For he serves to keep the whole law, and yet if in one point is guilty of all. For he, God said, thou shalt not commit adultery. He said also, thou shalt not offend. And one point, if you do one little thing. Well, this was just a small sin, Brother Michael. This was just a little sin. So if I go to hell for this little sin, I won't go to really a hot, horrible place. That's not scripture. Somebody still with me? Amen. So, who's next here? Any other statements or questions? Yes.
Good question for you. She's talking about the worms that never dies. When we die in the grave, and we're there until the next rapture takes place, or after that, you know what I mean? Okay, we'll get a glorified body. But when we're in hell, like Lazarus, not Lazarus, but the rich man and the poor man says, warn my brothers about coming to hell, give me a water just a little bit to touch the tongue. That means we're going to have a body. We're not going to have an immortal body like in heaven, but we'll have a mortal body differently in hell, where the skin is still there, but the blood will be changed somehow.
Yeah, flesh and blood cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So always remember, whether we go to heaven, or hell, we're still going to have feelings. Okay? We're still going to be able to eat and drink, because the Bible said we're going to divide yourself in the land. Somebody say amen to that.
We're going to have feelings?
Yeah, we're going to have
We
feelings.
don't have feelings like things that hurt us here. We're going to have a
No, I'm not talking about that. You're going to have taste buds.
taste buds.
You're going to have joy in heaven. Come on. You're going to have the happiness and all of it. Because Jesus said that he'll not drink the fruit of the wine anymore until he drinks the wine in heaven. Okay. So in heaven we're going to be having our supper. We're going to eat, we're going to drink. And in hell, like Brother John brought up, they're still going to get thirsty.
So we're going to have the feelings that we have down here in hell, but we're not going to have the feelings like fear and all this in heaven. That'll be all taken care of.
All the former things have passed away. There'll be no more pain and more sorrow and so forth. And somebody said, this is someone else's teaching, which, I'm not going to get into it. But people say, well, what about our loved ones in hell? The Bible doesn't tell us what's going to be, but all I know is we're going to be happy. I've heard people say, well, just recently my
Well, I know in heaven there's not going to be any sorrow, so this is just, I know you want facts and everything, but it's just my opinion that since there's not going to be any sorrow or crying in heaven, I don't believe that we'll know who didn't make it to heaven. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Right, I believe that.
Yeah, see, people says that, which, I tend to agree with it too. But for me to say,
Right.
that's
It's
what
not,
it's going to be,
yeah.
I can't
It
say.
talks about the great gulf, where the people in hell seen heaven, but the people in heaven could not see hell.
That's, yeah.
So that might be part of the torment. I don't know.
Well, out of darkness is separation. That's another story.
Right.
Brother Michael.
Well, Revelation 24 talks about how God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. So obviously there's going to be crying up in heaven. Whatever they're crying about, who knows?
I believe there will be crying in heaven, but this way. Was you ever so happy you cried for joy?
Oh, well, yeah. I've done that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be wonderful. But we cannot build a doctrine. Does anybody really understand what I'm saying? Don't get into a teaching of a doctrine that's not scripture. Okay? Because we have a doctrine that as soon as you die, you go to heaven. It's not the Bible. They say, well, that's a body present with the Lord. That does not mean to go to heaven, because why, if he was in heaven, would in the moment trickle an eye, they didn't pressurize first? Where are they at?
Paradise.
It surely can't be in heaven. So if they was in heaven, they have to zoom down here and jump in the grave and then take off again. Come on now. So it sounds good. I just seen somebody last night, I guess, on the news there, where they lost their loved one, and they said, yeah, he's in heaven looking down on all of us. Mary's not in heaven. The disciples are not in heaven. They're waiting for the resurrection just like we are. So we say that. Yes. The only ones that are in heaven is the old saints, the old patriarchs. When the graves were open, so when they come up and they're with the Lord, so forth, he set the captive free. He took them. Anybody else? We're all waiting here. Somebody say that. So there's a lot of talk and teaching. That's not scripture. And how many know that'll get you confused? Sister, go.
I was just going to mention you had a vision of Rachel that day, and you called me and said, I debated on whether to even tell you this. And I said, what? And you said it hit you so hard that you hadn't gotten over it yet. You were having an awful time driving home. But you saw Jesus sitting on the throne, and you saw her come over and get down before the Lord and lay her head in Jesus' lap. And he stroked her long dark hair as if to console her. And I remember saying to you, well, why does he have to console her if everything's so wonderful up there? And you said, I don't know, sister.
Okay, let me explain something here. The book of Revelations talks about John. Please follow this here, you'll understand. When John has a vision of the 12 thrones, the 24 thrones, 12 of the old patriarchs, 12 of the disciples, he sees his own self there, because he's the one of the disciples. It's a futuristic thing. John is seeing himself on the throne of God, judging the nations. So it's the future. How many of you ever had a dream or a vision of the future? Did you ever? Yeah. Did you ever have God speak to you like something in the future is going to happen to you? And you lay hold on that prophecy, that vision, whatever, and so on. So I've had dreams, and I've seen people. I remember Mom when she had the 3 massive heart attacks in Israel. I've seen all that kind of stuff. Okay? My wife seen, before it ever happened, when I was in the Philippines, seen me coming back home skinny as a rail, almost dead, and she called somebody else.
I called my sister and I said, I don't know what's going on, I said, because I was a baby in the Lord and I didn't understand all this. I said, I had a vision of my husband, but it wasn't like my husband because he wasn't acting right, something was wrong, and like he was, in other words, I said to her, like he was laying around. And here I got a call, and he said, the reason I didn't call you, they got to get me home right away because I'm very, very sick.
Okay, so the point is this here. A prophecy or a vision is always things to come. A word of wisdom, word of knowledge is things to come. Okay? So this is why God gives these things here. So we can lay hold on to what's going to happen. So say something.
I guess you would call it an open vision because I came here to work away for 40 days. I went and laid in the bed to close my eyes, but I wasn't sleeping in it. When I did that, I saw ambulance and I saw a cop car.
Can you speak up?
The next day, it was me. I had an accident on the way home from my job.
Hear that? She had a vision of herself, a cop car and ambulance going, of herself. So the same man. So God will show us things.
And it was one ambulance and one cop car.
Okay, now,
Exactly what I saw.
I'll throw a question out here. Why would God give you a dream or a vision or something and see your own self? Just like whenever these guys stole the logs together and another person see me laying upside down in the gutter, what's up, all this stuff. And I rebuked it in Jesus' name because I didn't want it to happen, but the very next night it happened. Why would God speak to you personally or have somebody come to you and prophesy personally to you, then it comes back? Somebody tell me why. Even though the thing might not be likable.
To warn you.
Well, yes, to warn you, but you can't change it if he says no. But why does God...
To prepare you.
Prepare it, but why does he speak in dreams and visions and through the word from you? Why does he do these things? In other words, what anything to say?
If it's a prophecy, it proves that God's real when it comes to pass.
Okay, she's getting on the line here now.
That's what I was thinking.
If if God gives you a dream or vision or speaks something to you, okay, and it comes to pass, now you know, first of all, you know you couldn't come up with that. I don't know, you couldn't come up with that kind of thought. Well, it ain't going to be the devil, but it must be God. So what it does, it shows that God is talking to you. Can you say that?
Amen.
And that will cause you to become more sensitive to His voice and walking through the life. Anybody still with me here? He wants us to hear His voice. We should be in the Spirit at all times. This is getting into the next week. But we should be in the Spirit at all times, that we would even have the mind of Christ. Somebody say amen. But how many of you know you cannot have the mind of Christ, with that do you here and that do you there? Right. I just told somebody this week here. Good voice. Oh, my good voice. The man you prayed for just a couple days ago. I know it for 40 years. And now there's 40 years to go on too. You might go to church 5 times a year as families, so with a bunch of gypsies. Always class and flash to them. And they're about as faithful to God as nothing. Now he has this heart trouble and diabetes and all this stuff. And they took him in the hospital, they expect him to live and all this stuff, and everybody's praying. They bring him home from the hospital. But he's not eating now because of his thirst. He's so scared. I had to try to explain to him, faith comes by hearing by the word of God. If you don't have it constantly being fed into you, how many of you know what's going to happen? Every time the least little thing happens to you, you're going to be beside yourself. But if you're in His presence, even the Bible Jesus God said, I'll do nothing except I reveal to my prophets first. He's showing a lot of people, Aprils and all kinds of people, things to come. And I said this years ago to the Lord, because He tells me things. He's so precise. When they went like this, I started to shake. I just shake all over. And I said, God, you scare me. You scare me. Because, see, this, I don't stand a snowball's chance in hell because I've heard His voice. Anybody? So, as we get closer to Him, as we get closer to Him, we ought to become more sensitive to His voice. Spirit. Anybody else have anything to say?